Today, I want to talk about what I believe is the biggest issue in every gamer's life. Whether you're a console gamer, a PC gamer, an emulation gamer, physical gamer, digital gamer, it doesn't matter. This is what I believe is the single biggest issue that everybody run will has ran into and will run into, and just kind of like ways I'm going about just addressing that. I know so many people would probably think that it'd be like servers being shut down, right? It's the biggest reason why people don't like game key cards, right? The most important thing for them is to build a physical collection and have games fully on cart, because what if Nintendo shuts down their servers someday? But at the same time, we really haven't had a console yet that has prevented, even once marketplaces are shut down, that you can download the games. And I'm really just at the point where I kind of believe that my Nintendo Switch is going to fail before Nintendo shuts down their services, right, to download those games. I think hardware failure is the single biggest issue, whether it be the consoles themselves or the controllers. And doesn't even have to be failure. I've lived this. 10 years ago, I lost my N64 and Xbox 360 in a basement flood. And all of a sudden, I was just out of an N64 and Xbox 360. I didn't have any big rush to replace them. I spent years before I actually just decided to replace them, because at this point there's so many games and so many ways to play that it just wasn't the highest priority. Eventually, I did prioritize and rebuy those, and just like that experience of having lost it, like I've have a big N64 library. Like, I didn't lose the games. I have a big Xbox 360 library. I didn't lose the games. I did lose the hardware though, so I was unable to play the games. And so like that really changed my mindset, that moving forward, as I get more into collecting and more into just building my libraries, because I want to build a library of games. First off, I could already probably go the rest of my life with what I have and not have to buy another single game, another single console. That doesn't mean though that all my consoles and all my games are going to last until the end of my life, right? My habits would change. Some people can go years playing the same game, right? They can just wake up and just play Animal Crossing for years, right? And I have multiple Animal Crossing games. Theoretically, that I could spend years of my life playing that and be satisfied and have fun. But I want to have options, right? I want to go the rest of my life with options. And I think one thing that no matter what type of gamer you have is to protect those options. And that's something I've been doing this year in terms of collecting, how I spend money like on gaming and all that. Even with my movies hobby, right? Like, I buy all these movies. I'm like, and my only players were my Xbox Series X and my PS5, and it's like, well, what if the next consoles don't have disc drives? What if the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5 fail someday? I have these movies I want to last the rest of my life, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy another 4K player for the living room, a budget one. Like, that way I have at least three players, right? And I'm kind of bringing that same mentality into gaming. And I bought a mod retro chromatic Game Boy. I love that thing, but they're doing another batch on the analog pocket, and this was the first time where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy the analog pocket. A lot of people are, very commonly are probably like, which one to get, one or the other, one or the other. And this is the first time I've decided to get both. And of course, like, this is because of like just my current financial situation, right? Like, I couldn't do this back like in the day with like the 3DS. Like, I wish I bought extra 3DSs, right? I'm like terrified of my 3DS dying, but because I don't have another one, I don't have a backup. That thing dies, I'm gonna have to buy a used one, and who knows how many miles are on that one. Is it grimy? Like, I wish I had another one. I wish I had the foresight when they were just being like just sold dirt cheap at the store, just to pick up another one. But I was at the store, I was like, I already have a 3DS. I wasn't really thinking of backups at the time. But now that's something I really do think about. And so, yeah, I picked up the analog pocket. Again, that like is also like expands my access for physical games, because the mod retro chromatic can only play Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Analog pocket can play Game Boy Advance just out of the box. But you can also get attachments for Game Gear, Atari Lynx, Neo Geo Pocket, the Turbo Graphics handheld. And so that gives me more physical access options. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I got the analog 3D. I'm probably going to pick up the Mod Retro M64, because, and this was something I was already thinking about before what happened this weekend that inspired me to make this video. But yeah, really, it's like, okay, well, I'm getting back to N64. I've spent 10 years not having an N64. I want to make sure I have a backup in case something happens to this analog 3D. My review of the analog 3D is positive. I love the thing, but it hasn't even been a year old, right? And what happened in the first year or two of the Xbox 360? The red ring of death, right? we don't know how long these consoles are going to last. Nobody has a 10-year review of the analog 3D. My 1-year review of the Xbox One when it came out, the fat VCR console, I've been like, this is a very powerful console. I like this thing. It's not as bad as people said it would be. It's a good console. The games look great. 13 years later, that thing's been bogged down with updates. I hate that console. I can't stand that console. One Black Friday, like a few years ago, I bought a white Xbox One S. It was like $200. It came with a controller and a copy of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Oh man, geez, I said a couple years. That's probably like 5 years ago by now. Ever since I got that, I never played the fat Xbox One. I had it hooked up in like the living room, which I gamed the least in for a little bit. It's not hooked up anymore. It's got that stupid touch button, so I always have to like unplug it or else it randomly turns on from like a speck of dust. I'll keep it around as a backup, but I got the Series X now, so do I really need three like of these Xbox Ones hooked up? Not really. But so this weekend, I've been playing Pragmata still as my main game. I love the game. I played a little bit Sunday morning. We were just staying in for the day, and we were watching. We thought the Indy 500 was on. I never watched Indy racing or anything, but we watch F1. We've been watching F1 this year ever since the F1 movie, and there was no F1 this week. But we thought the Indy 500 was on. Like our son, he loves those race cars, so we're like, this looks like F1. We'll throw this on. Turns out it was just qualifying again. I don't follow like Indy car racing or anything like that. I do follow F1 now though. But so we're like, all right, whatever. But it didn't scratch the itch. It was like, I was just qualifying. Throw it on the background. We'll just hang out, in the living room and stuff. Got some like F1 like cars on the screen. And so, we were just home for a bit. I got like a little extra game time before dinner, like extra like 30 minutes. I came down. So one game I've been playing on the N64 has been F1 World Grand Prix. I've never played this growing up. I'm very new to F1. This all spawned from playing Cruis'n USA and loving Cruis'n USA, loving N64 racing games, the vibe and all that. But because it was like arcadey, it turned into like I could see that I have a theory that there's like a payout system in it. So everything I felt like me improving in the game, which was what I initially liked about the game, feeling like I was doing better. That like went away. That like disappeared when I just realized like, oh, I'm beating every race as long as I try like 5 times. Eventually, they kind of just give you the win. And so like I like meshing up my hobbies, and so like we're watching F1 this season, and I'm playing more my main games. I'm playing on like I play Resident Evil 9, Pragmata. Not playing as many big N64 games, but I still want to keep N64 in my life, like micro gaming, just here and there. And so yeah, one weekend I started playing because I got the Summer Kart 64, right? So I was just like, is there any F1 games on N64? Can I like merge those worlds together, those hobbies? And so I tried the F1 World Grand Prix, and it's an awesome game, like low key. I think it's super underrated. There's just like so much content, and it's like a simulator racing game, so it's not arcadey. Like it doesn't have that peak funness of Cruis'n USA, but like just like when you figure out tracks or circuits and all of that. I'm very bad at the game too, right? So there's like a whole bunch of level of improvement. I'm only on like week 6, and there's like 17 weeks, so that's 17 circuits. It's a lot of fun, super underrated. Can't recommend it enough. And if you don't have a way to just like emulate it or use a flash card, the game's like $8, right? Like people consider it shovelware and it's nothing, but I think it's super underrated. Like give that a chance, and you also get like the N64 vibes with the graphics. Ton of fun. And so, like, yeah, there was no F1 last weekend. We were kind of watching IndyCar, wasn't scratching the vibe. And so it's like, yeah, I watch an F1 on a weekend. I'm like, oh, I'll go down and do a week of my career in F1 World Grand Prix on N64. And so, like, there was no F1, it was IndyCar racing. I was like, oh, you know what? Instead of playing more Pragmata, I already played a little bit this morning. This is a good opportunity just to kind of like, let's mix it up. Let's play a little week of F1 World Grand Prix. And so I went down, sat down. I tried turning on my analog 3D with the 8-bit Do controller, and it didn't turn on. And I was like, all right, that's weird. Maybe it's been a little while since I turned on. It's been a few weeks for sure. I went up to the console. I tried turning it on with the power button switch, and it didn't turn on. I was like, great, I chose wrong. I should have just played Pragmata for 30 minutes, and I decided, like, I'll mix it up, play N64, and I'm finding I was, like, bricked. And I'm like, now I'm going to be on a troubleshooting. Thankfully, I ended up just like unplugging the USB-C from the back, and plugging it back in, and it worked. It booted up. So I don't know if like a power surge or something, like a mini power surge. We haven't had a major one where we actually lost electricity, but maybe there was like a mini power surge or something that like glitched it out and caused it to not turn on. And I was like, yep, that is why I'm buying multiple Game Boys. That's why I'm buying multiple Xbox Ones. That's why I bought 2 Nintendo Switch 2s on launch day. That's why I'm buying backups, is because like, again, even the PS5, right? I love the PS5, but no one has a 10-year PS5 review. Our component's going to fail. Is it going to be easy to repair? Like, what's going to happen? And I don't know. I'm just getting more and more invested into backups. I need to do that with controllers too. Like, I have a PS4, so if my PS5 dies, at least I can play PS4 games on my PS4. Except my controllers don't really hold charges anymore on the PS4, so that sucks. Now I have to play it like wired controllers now. Like, I should have bought some PS4 controllers and kept it in a box. Thankfully, I did that for PS3. I have a brand new PS3 controller in box, and like I'm just like waiting for it. I'm gonna hook up the PS3 and like really play PS3 and get some good quality use out of it. So I have that all set up. And yeah, it's like I know people hate like Xbox for like, oh, you guys still use batteries instead of like a rechargeable one, but it's like I don't know. I think that's underrated because I don't know, these controllers like are gonna die. And so when like the PS6 comes out, if it has a disk drive, which I really hope is there's a disk drive so I can have another PS4 backup and basically a PS5 backup. That was like my biggest reason for not buying a PS5 Pro. I thought about it. I was like, I have the money, I have the TV and the setup. I could use a PS5 Pro. Then I have another PS5 as a backup. It's another 4K player as a backup. I was like, for $800, I'll just wait for the PS6. Now, who even knows that the PS6 doesn't have a disk drive? Is that going to be able to be a PS5 backup for me? I don't know. And now they increased the price of the PS5. So it's like if I want to get a PS5 as a backup with a disk drive, it's going to cost me like $800. And so that sucks. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think of the Switch, right? I keep my Switch 1s around. Like, the Switch 2 pretty much makes the Switch 1 obsolete. And now the Switch 1 is like, well, those are like my travel consoles. I'm going to give them to my kids when they're young and first starting out gaming because they're probably going to ruin the controllers just like naturally. But it's like, I have 3 pairs of Joy-Con. 2 of them have stick drift already. That's not even good enough to like allow them to use it, to get fun out of it, and then ruin it. They're already ruined. I can't even start a game with those controllers because of the stick drift as it like moves on the menu. So it's like, I have 2 Nintendo Switch 2 consoles, but really I have like 1 pair of Joy-Con and 2 Pro controllers. And it's like, when those controllers are gone, it's like the Switch 2 stuff isn't backwards compatible. I really should buy more controllers for the Switch 1 just to keep that ecosystem alive. Or if I put the Switch 1s in storage for just the future, if my Switch 2s die, so I can continue enjoying my Switch 1 library, physical and digital, I need controllers for those. And it's like, what if those die? I don't know. It's like, as I'm farther along in gaming, I couldn't always afford to have backups like back in the day, but now that I can, I am investing a little more money in backup. Do I need the analog 3D and the M64? No, but like I don't know how long the analog 3 is. The analog 3D built well? Is the PS5 built well? Like PS5 is only 5 years old. How's it going to be 10 years old? I know the Xbox One, that 13-year review, that thing is horrible. And so yeah, I don't know how these consoles are going to be. And you can say the same thing about like, your $50. I have a $50 Anbernic, Game Boy Advance SP handheld. That's awesome. I can play every Game Boy Advance game, but it's a $50 handheld. I don't think that thing's gonna survive 20 years. Like, should I buy another one because of how cheap they are and just like keep it brand new, just in storage? And like, I don't know, if I did heavy use of that handheld with long hour play sessions, is that gonna really wear and tear it and make it die fast? That's kind of what holds me back on spending $400 on an AYN Thor. Probably great. You can play all these consoles and everything, but heavy use, if you like people who play it 4 hours a day, the thing is brand new, right? Like it's not even a year old. How is that going to hold up 10 years later? If that's going to be like your gaming, should you get 2 of them? A lot of people are like, just get a modded PS3. Like, just why invest in a PS3 library? Just buy a modded PS3. And if you do that, you don't have the physical games. It's like, I see that the PS3s are starting to drop like flies. Those things aren't lasting and they're dying. And that's why I kind of love these like FPGA consoles, like the Mod Retro and the analog consoles that still use the old physical game cartridges. Because I like buying a physical library of stuff like, these 4Ks. And if my player dies, it's nice knowing that there's new players on the market, right? So I can now I feel like I can buy physical N64 games, and I got the flash cart, of course, too, like the summer cart. Again, even the flash carts, I don't know like how well those are built and how long they will last. They're a great supplement. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Maybe I should get a second summer cart just to have in storage for when this summer cart dies, right? But it's nice knowing that it's like, oh, if an N64, my analog dies, like there's still some on the market. There's like the mod retro. So if I buy N64 games or if I buy Game Boy games, that there are devices that can physically play these libraries. And, I don't know. I feel the same way about like, the emulation stuff too. It's like, I kind of make fun of people who have like 20 emulation handhelds. It's like, do they even play games? But it's like, at least have like one backup, right? And that's what I need to do. Like, I still need to circle back and get another backup on the emulation handheld because I only have one. And if that dies, I lose all my, like, that whole part of my gaming life is just gone unless I have a backup. And who knows how long they're going to sell them for, right? The AOI on Thor, that could be happen for a couple years and then they stop making them and you can love it. It can die and then you can't really get another one. And or you have a situation like CRT TVs. There's a huge boom in CRTs, and I really want one, but at the same time, I don't want to spend money on one where I don't know how long it's going to last. I grew up with CRT TVs, and I also know that like a couple of ours died like as using them. Like and I was without a TV, and that's how I ended up getting like a widescreen TV at the time because our CRT square CRT TV died, and so then we just like was like, well, need a new TV. Let's go to Best Buy and get a TV, and that's what it was like. The new TVs were like widescreen, 1080p TVs, and so yeah. And even if you're a PC gamer, I mean, PC is almost weirder because like, oh, get like a second backup PC, but it's like I feel like because of like Windows and all that, it's hard. I mean, I respect retro PC gamers so much, but like in today's age, if you're a PC gamer and you rely on Steam, which is all DRM to like download your games, I don't know. I feel you should get like a PC that's like totally offline with your emulated, your ROMs for your emulated games and your emulators, and have your GOG games and all that stuff that just doesn't need the launchers. But if you're a big Steam player, it's like, my PC. I have a PC upstairs. It's not this one. This one's way newer. But that one has like a 970 graphics card built in 2015, and like that can't get upgraded to Windows 11 unless I like upgrade like the CPU chip, which is like the big thing I need to do with that PC is upgrade the CPU chip, the motherboard. I may as well just build a whole new PC. But no, that's probably gonna be like in 2 or 3 more years. Then I'll actually do that once I like can no longer get that extended support on Windows 10, and then that's gonna cost me like $3,000. Because of how much, and that I can make that the budget PC. It's gonna sell me $3,000 because of like just prices of everything going up. People are dogging consoles for going up in price. What do you think is gonna happen to PC? Console prices are going up because of RAM. Of course, PC is gonna go up. So PC is almost harder to like make just to have backups for. I feel like compared to like emulation handhelds. But yeah, I got my Doomsday hard drive. I really should need to get a second Doomsday hard drive so I can clone it and have a backup in case the hard drive itself failed, so I don't have to like go through all the trouble of acquiring those ROMs again. And so yeah, I don't know. I think it's the biggest underrated thing is hardware and hardware backups, and that's not something everybody can do. That's something I haven't been able to do for a long time. I wish I bought an extra GameCube back in the day, right? I'm almost afraid to use my GameCube because like if that, what happens if it dies? Or my PS2, I can start using it again and then it just dies. And that's why I love these like modern re-releases. I love like the Neo Geo AS Plus. I hope more companies do that. Emulation stuff's great too. But yeah, I don't know if you should make the mistake of putting all your eggs in one basket, thinking that you're gonna buy one of these like consoles and think that's gonna last 10 or 20 years. One of the reasons why I'm building these libraries and building all these like my gaming libraries in both like software but also a hardware library of like just backups of consoles is so that way I can game until like I'm retired and my hands just stop working. And things are going to fail. I think consoles could fail before like you can't download a game keycard game from Nintendo's servers, right? So in terms of like preservation, if you're all big about preservation, you should preserve your own hardware and get backups, right? Like it always feels ridiculous. It's like, man, like, should I buy a PS5, keep it in the box, not even open it, and just put it under the stairs in storage just for like in the future? And always feels ridiculous. But I feel like I would be very happy if I did that in the future. Like, I will thank my future self will thank me if I did that. I haven't done that. And that's what sucks about the PS6. If the PS6 comes out and doesn't have a disc drive, that almost makes me want to buy another PS5 instead of a PS6, because I have all these physical PS5 games. This is what I want to preserve and like guarantee I have backup for in the future. But again, I don't know how much I trust these modern consoles since the Xbox One, with these mandatory updates, bogging it down. And especially if you have a digital library, then you're stuck, right? You have to get those updates to be able to download the stuff. And your old consoles like the Xbox One could be just bogged down, and you might just be forced to get the latest and greatest modern hardware for a very expensive cost. And so, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is hardware failure the biggest issue when it comes to gaming? Whether you are a console gamer, a PC gamer, emulation gamer, physical or digital, uh, and even digital, almost it's like it's all tied to your account, right? So you have a single point of failure there with your account. Your hardware can die. You can buy a new hardware, sign into your account, but if your account gets hacked or anything, or there's a big password breach and leak, and you lose your account, uh, yeah, that could be bad, and you lose all those digital games. So yeah, I'm trying to eliminate my single points of failure. That's been a big theme of my year. It's probably WoW. If there's a Zelda Switch 2, I'll probably get that this year. I've never bought a special edition console because I'm like, I don't need it. I already have one. But I feel like I need backups now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.